Hello and welcome to AdaPulse, the Catalyst funding news channel that's keeping you up to date with everything Cardano. And today I'm doing a sum up of this article, which is CIP 1776, a new approach to decentralized governance. And this is only part one. And this is by Dickson Mwendia. If you've been with us for a long time, you'll know who he is. And this is only a sum up. So do remember, if you want to see the full article, do go online to check it out there. But we are still going to be discussing, the current governance design, the limitations of Shelley, and we will dive into obviously CIP 1776, and we'll give you a nice sum up at the end, so do stay to the end for that. So with that, do remember to click the like button, hit subscribe, and that bell button for the notifications. So I am Josh from ATM Stake Pool, your presenter for AdaPulse for today. Let's just crack on with this, shall we? Now, the Cardano community is seemingly unhappy with the governance model set out in CIP 1694, as it suggested it leads to divisive debates and misinformation. I'll include a link to 1694 in the description below because it is still the first functional governance model. However, it lacks a mechanism for drafting the Cardano constitution, despite relying on a constitutional community. Now, before moving forward, the Cardano community is urged to consider the governance processes outlined in CIP 1694, specifically the role of Project Catalyst in Treasury sort of actions. But unfortunately, CIP 1694 fails to present results from like 4 years of Treasury experimentation that could have contributed to foundational governance. And furthermore, the importance of the Constitutional Committee, which is vital for running the governance model effectively, is neglected as an off-chain issue. So today's article is introducing CIP 1776, a new governance model that establishes like a solid foundation for decentralized decision making. So unlike other proposed models, it offers a fresh approach to technically and legislatively fulfill criteria for all the on-chain governance. Now, CIP 1776 utilizes the existing Cardano mechanism and the 7 governance keys, ensuring a technically feasible and scalable foundation. An overview of the current governance design. The Cardano governance architecture, consisting of 7 keys and operating on-chain, was established during the Shelley ledger phase, and it has the ability to modify protocol parameters, including initiating, hard forks. You may have heard of the sort of hard fork combination, which is a feature, and transferring ADA between treasuries and reserve, even enabling withdrawals. The operational model allows for the initiation of governance actions through specific transactions. So you're requiring authorization from a majority of the 7 keys on the Cardano mainnet. So basically, you would need at least 5 out of the 7. Now, the transaction body contains proposed governance actions, such as amending protocol parameters and initiating fund transfers. Now, each action triggers a single governance action, but individual actions can have multiple effects, such as modifying multiple protocol parameters. In CIP 1694 specifications, field number 6 in the transaction body updates protocol parameters. The Move Instantaneous Reward Certificate, or MIR certificates, handle the movements between reserves and treasuries, while authorized governance actions occur at epoch boundaries. But we'll talk about more on that a little bit later on. What are the limitations of the Shelley model? In the transition to the Voltaire era, the Cardano community aims to address limitations and introduce a more effective governance model. So the current Shelley model lacks active on-chain participation from ADA holders, with protocol changes primarily driven by select community members and founding entities like whether it's IOG, the Cardano Foundation, and Emergo, who hold the 7 governance keys. There is a need to monitor treasury movements more effectively to ensure transparency and additional control over these transactions, as they are pretty crucial to the network. And on top of that, there seems to be some confusion, regarding the distinction between what is a hard fork and just a sort of, other sort of protocol changes. Recording a shared ethos on the Cardano blockchain is another important area to explore. So despite having a shared vision, some stakeholders still lack alignment among, Cardano's founding entities and community members. What is the CIP 1776 all about? CIP 1776 introduces an inclusive and decentralized on-chain governance model for Cardano, ensuring a fair balance of voting power among the constitutional court, stake pool operators, and delegated representatives. So all these entities must ratify governance actions, which will then be implemented on-chain following specific rules. I mean, the aim is to prevent any single entity or group from exerting excessive influence over Cardano's decision-making process. The proposal includes the establishment of a minimum viable constitution, providing a framework for governance and decision-making. So CIP 1776 proposes a modular governance system and a review of Cardano's on-chain governance, allowing any user to submit a governance action for consideration. Stake pool operators hold, quite a significant role in governance because we all get a vote each, as long as we all meet the sort of eligibility requirements. And multi-pool operators are still included as well, and they're accounted for in the extensive testing, but also balanced by legislative agreement requirements for delegation representatives. Delegated representatives have weighted votes based on their ADA holdings. Now, users can delegate their voting rights to others through like a cascade style governance model. Institutional holders, exchanges, and those with like considerable ADA holdings are considered in the legislation ratification requirements for all three participants. The Constitutional Court consists of 7 independently elected representatives. Now, their role is to ensure that the motions approved by the delegated representatives and stake pool operators align with the Constitution and are ratified. So the court can comprise of individuals, constitutional committees or organizations, or a combination of like all of the above, as long as they meet the necessary requirements to hold a key position in the sort of constitutional court. Final words. The gaps in the Shelley governance operation model have inspired thoughts and gave birth to a new approach to governance, which is CIP 1776. Now, CIP 1776 structure introduces inclusivity, decentralizes and balances the existing model. It introduces a viable constitution and a framework for governance decisions through the 3 entities. So obviously that's the constitutional court, stake pool operators, and delegated representatives. The idea is a system where no team or group overlooks the other. So now that brings us to the end of the article. Remember, the full in-depth piece can be found online on the AdaPulse website. But before you go, obviously do click the like button, hit subscribe, and hit that bell button for the notifications. And do share far and wide. We want, we want our articles to go as far as possible. But anyway, with that, I am Josh from ATM Stakepool, your presenter for AdaPulse for today, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.